Hi friends, this is Dr.Jyoti chabria. I'm a nutritionist with a career of 32 years. Today I'm here to talk about the hot favorite so-called tiffin item, idli. Just to add a little punch to this entire topic, I'd like to tell you a little story about my journey from Mumbai to Hyderabad. I came into the city almost 28 years ago on account of my marriage. And the first thing that I heard was from patients was that, Madam, what do you have in tiffin? To me, a tiffin meant a carriage or a carrier in which we carry our food, a lunch box. I only came to realize that tiffin in Andhra or Telangana meant breakfast items like idli, dosa, upma, things like that. So that's where my journey began. Complete transition from Mumbai to Hyderabad. I could tell you umpteen number of stories which would never end. But yes, these were one of the few things that I learned about the word idli and its association with the word tiffin. Today, of course, you have a lot of variants of idli. You have the ragi idli and you have the soya idli and you have the regular idli, rice idli, multigrain idli, millet idli. So, idli, I believe, has come a long way. Everyone's very fascinated by the fact that everyone considered idli a very low-calorie item, and several questions have always been asked to me, such that, is it good for weight loss? How should I eat my idli? How many should I eat? How many calories does it contain? So, well, I'm here to answer some of your questions. And idli normally varies between 35 to 39 calories. It's probably a variant of rice and dal. It does have about 2 grams of protein. Of course, the idli depends on... Now, if a patient tells me, ma'am, how many idli should I eat? My answer to them is that if you're eating it from a restaurant which is big in size, you probably eat 2. But if you make it at home and eat it, which is small, you're okay to eat 4 to 5. What is the right combination with an idli? Should I eat sambar? Should I eat chutney? What chutney should I eat? So really speaking, of course, the accompaniment does count. But it's not like a cup of sambar would give you what? 100 calories? Not more than that. It's more wholesome because it's in combination with an idli. It's more filling. It all depends. Now, for example, if a diabetic were to use idli, I would probably stop the diabetic from consuming a coconut chutney. But there are a lot of other options like a gongura chutney, a tomato chutney, a pudina mint chutney. So, things can be worked out as per the calorie count that is required. How long does it take for a idli to digest is again everyone's question to me. Normally, the food that we eat, any food that we eat, the digestion varies from 24 to 72 hours. The process of digestion is what? As we eat food, first, the food that enters our mouth mixes with our saliva, which has amylase, and that breaks it down. From there, the food is sent through the food pipe into the small intestine and the large intestine. First, the small intestine and the stomach. In the stomach, pepsin is released and again it breaks down the food further and then it is pushed into the small intestine. Here, whatever nutrients are required and the water that is required from that digested food gets into the bloodstream. The rest goes on into the larger intestine. Once again, whatever is required is pulled out and then the remnants are sent from the large intestine into the bolus, as bowels, and they are released. Every food group, of course, takes its own time for digestion. For example, if you drink water, it's digested almost immediately. So that's why it is recommended that as you get up in the morning to flush out your bowels, it is always suggested that a good intake of water really helps. Something like a juice or a smoothie would take something like 15 to 20 minutes. A broth, a soup. Then we come on to things like probably eggs would take about 30 to 40 minutes. Rice, brown rice, quinoa, buckwheat, oats would again take anything between 60 to 90 minutes. So, basically the entire process varies between about maybe, I would say half an hour to about 2-3 hours depending on what you're eating. Things like rajma, chana, the legumes, pulses, they last out for 2-3 hours and get digested. There is, of course, no complete digestion. It remains there as food groups which even remain in the stomach for almost a day or two. So that's why it is very imperative and integral to plan the diet such that you have a little of everything. Even on weight lossers or weight watchers, I would never recommend any patient to be completely devoid of fat, because every nutrient plays its own role at the end of the day. If I had no fat in my body and if my organs are not lined with fat, the minute or my bones are not covered with fat, the minute I fall down, my bones would break into pieces. But why doesn't that happen? Because it acts as a sponge around the bones, and that gives stability to the bones also. So things like rice, or now even again heavily processed foods, now they last out longer, they take a longer time to digest, especially meats, red meat, beef, pork, ham, mutton, they take longer to digest. So everything, even if all kind of food groups are used judiciously and rightly planned and balanced, it works the best. So really guys, there's no really need to eliminate completely anything from the diet. What's important is to take a healthy, balanced diet in the right proportion, have adequate exercise, adequate sleep, cut down on stress, because these are all the pillars that make this tower stand on its own. That's your body. So take care of yourself. God bless. Happy living, healthy living.